What is up? It is Rocco and I could get a good look in there. That is new all-time highs, buddy. Do you smell it? I'm just doing it because when you gasp, he always like turns around and gets focused. Anyways, but yeah, new all-time highs today in the U.S. stock market, represented by SPY. We'll take a look at the charts. Big jumps today. Obviously, JP Morgan kicked off earnings. A lot of the banks crushed it. I will pat myself on the back. If you recall, me yesterday said I bought banks. Thankfully, that one popped. Did not expect to move that quickly, but did want to buy it ahead of obviously JP Morgan earnings, a catalyst like that. And obviously, there were others, Wells and a lot of banks beat. So we'll take a look. But today, a big day for industrials and financials, both jumping about 2%. Let me hop on the screen here, and I really do have to share one other thing here. Well, let me just start it. I don't think the AI is taking all the jobs just yet. When I put up the picture, it's the best one I can find, and this looks like, I don't know, something off of like Russian Twitter or something. But industrials and financials jump. That was the best thing I got. But it was the best looking chart. I mean, it's not even a true chart. It's not even really the IND. Just I don't know. Anyways, not great returns today. These are getting worse actually. I've been using Gemini and the other one, but from Microsoft. But anyhow, and then in Google. Anyway, so today industrials financials jump 2%. A big part of that. And Bitcoin, big break. We're going to look at it. It's in our chart today, up 6% today. A big move if you mark it, like an ETF does. Obviously, it's a 24-hour market, but Bitcoin, a big jump today, up 6%. We've been waiting for it. Let's see if it's just getting started or what. And the new all-time highs for, you named it, your 401k is highest today than it's ever been, barring that you have some idiotic allocation. But new all-time highs in SPY, financials, industrials, the equal weight. So this is not essentially, any stock that you throw publicly to, money at publicly traded companies, but essentially that is the highest valuation today than ever before. Obviously, it's the S&P 500 divided equally. The Dow, new all-time high today, as well as that chart. We've been looking at the IGV, the Internet Tech, pretty important index, Salesforce, Oracle, that kind of group, new all-time highs. It really has done a lot in the past week. So we'll look at some of these charts. And then the week, obviously, because it is Friday, I was going to have a drink with me here to celebrate, but we'll do that after to keep, I don't know, some semblance of professionality, I guess. There's a dog on my lap, for goodness sakes. But this week, when all said and done, it really was about that mean reversion, that drop in China down 12%, and then nat gas not short, not far behind, down about 7-8%. We'll take a look. That was really the themes of the week. And then way behind that, it would be a jump led pretty much starting today with regional banks. They've had a nice climb back. So we'll take a look at these. So that's pretty much all I said. And and under the hood, new all-time highs. We'll take a look. Industrials, financials. Let me see if this would can make it a little bit bigger so you can see this here. So the industrials at 1.8. Financials up 2. IBIT tracking here up nearly 6% today. The top 3 gainers the past 5 days. We'll go through regional banks up 4%, semis up 3.5%, and then that group we were talking about, the IGV, to a new all-time high day, up 3%. So good mix there. A little bit heavy on the tech, but good mix there. And then top 3 losers the past 5 days: China, big mean reversion lower, down 12% this week. Nat gas continues its move lower after it tapped the 200-day moving average. And then Brazil, not one of the countries participating in a big rally as of late. So we'll take a look at these charts, and then top trades of the past week. We'll do a little teaser at the end for best trades of the year. I think you know what they are. But yeah, this week, if you were short China, short nat gas, and long regional banks, you absolutely crushed it. So let's take a look first with the Spizzle, the day intraday action. Today was super low volume as well. I'll pull it up in a second. Give me a second. If you have a ticker or something you want me to look at, I will put it in the chart. It is Friday. Monday is Columbus Day. Check if your market is or trading or whatnot, fixed income equities. I don't think the equity market's closed, but I could be wrong. I don't think it is. All right, so here is the intraday chart. Pretty interesting tapes. Obviously, JP Morgan kicked off corporate earnings today. They crushed it. Big 5% move out of JPM, obviously powering banks, which we're going to talk about later. We peaked technically at 10 a.m. at 580.10 here, and then continue to perform and trade well all day. No kind of reversal at the European close. Did very well here, 12:30. A little bit of a sell, kind of the only one at the noon bar there when we went from 580 essentially to 578, and then that was buyable. It looks in hindsight, and then we actually got very close to new highs going into the weekend. But folks not really concerned about obviously going long into the weekend. So not bad to see on a Friday. So zooming out, as I said, the chart kind of in terms of reading the EKG or the chart, as it will, kind of reset itself. So still, I'd rather be long than short, obviously, with the momentum. Great looking candle here, but the lid is about 583 in terms of where this market can go higher. So that is not very far from here. That is about $3 or 60 bips or so from here. So manage your risk accordingly, and any pullbacks can take you down to about 568 area is where I would look. So that would be kind of a big move. Let me get my calculator out here. So that would be a 2% pullback. So, but we've come quite a bit since just the 4th. Last Friday we were talking with it was 568 here from the lows, and now here we are at 580. So again, tight lid, 583 or so. Rather be long than short, obviously, given the momentum. All righty, let's look at the charts that mattered. Whoa, it zoomed in like 3,000. I'm not that blind. That was for you guys. All right, so let's take a look at the charts that matter. All right, so the XLI we'll start with. So this is the industrials that went to a new all-time high before. That's obviously your Caterpillars and many other firms. So it's not just, again, if you look at we're not going to go through all the indices charts, but the Qs are actually the furthest away from their new 52-week high, a new all-time high. You saw SPY do it today. IWM is closer. The Dow did it today. So the tech trade is behind. When it comes back, it's probably going to surge with a vengeance because everyone likes to pile on that trade, obviously. But for right now, these guys are who's been leading the game. And look at this bar. So obviously, the bigger the bar, the more movement it had. Today it went from I'm rounding to save myself breath for some odd reason. But today it went from 136 to 138. That is quite a move. The ATR, the average true range is $1.61, is given where it moves all day. So what it did today was quite a move, and you can see that visually represented from these bars. So this is the biggest bar I've seen in quite a while. Here's almost a similar move, but inverted, right, to a down move on the 3rd. This is a big day here, a big gap up. Now what? Similar in terms of the market, I'd rather be a buyer than a seller, but the lid for me is around 137. So I didn't think it was going to have this kind of exuberance here. So 137, 138, it's pretty much at target. It had a big thrust today. Any pullbacks could probably take you to about 134, 135. So that's how I would manage risk there. But really great performing group. If you look at one last thing on this, the high RSI, this has actually been above, a 62 RSI since September 16th. So really just very few red days in the past 3 to 4 weeks, really on fire, the industrials. All righty. So technically 2 days from before the Fed started cutting. So obvious trade was real estate, Fed cuts, right? By industrials also ripping, actually one of the best trades since they actually did cut those 50 bips. And we'll see what happens with the next meeting. They might do nothing. They might do 25. We'll see. All right, financials, JPM, Jamie Dimon powered this one today. They absolutely crushed it. And the XLF up 2%. You go look at that bar. That is a massive candle there. Chart looks great. Fed is obviously cutting. But in terms of what I was doing here in terms of target, so for this, I had right about 46.5 for my target. Where exactly close today. Pullbacks could take you back to about 45.5. So kind of range bound. I'd rather be a buyer. Again, Goldman, I believe, reports on Monday, and you get Citi and some other banks. I'm not certain which ones are left, but obviously there's some left since today was just day one. But yeah, I would keep a lid on it. Again, kind of the overall speak of what I'm having with the market. I mean, you guys still a big 60 bip move in SPY today. Just around this financials, even if you get the breakout, I wouldn't take it much further than where it is here. So, if you're long options or something, it's like I'm long the KBE. I'm expecting this ran a lot today. I'll manage my risk better, or I'll manage my risk on Monday, the December option. So nothing really to do here except sit on a massive game that came out today. I do like the breakout that we were essentially range bound from August 30. And now if it propels us higher, maybe 47. Just this isn't going to, again, trees don't go to the sky. I was almost considering naming the show Trees Don't Go to the Sky, but we trade trends. So we're going to stick with that. Okay. And then IBIT. So let's just, we'll go IBIT since IBIT was the one that registered the move. So IBIT today up 5.7%, big looking candle. Obviously, Bitcoin not looked super great since the highs were put in March. But let's see where the direction is. We were waiting for this. I think it's probably, I think it's done enough to the downside here in terms of IBIT. Right around $35 is where I expected to spend some time. So thankfully, it did a lot in one day. I think the ultimate next target is it goes to $38. So that's about another $2 or another 5 to 6% from here. So in terms of Bitcoin, I think that means it would add about 4K. So about to like 67. So still a little bit higher. It's not the things that are getting, not the asset securities that are pushing to new all-time highs, like industrials have momentum, financials, those guys have momentum. Your Bitcoins, your NVIDIAs, these are all, I don't want to say laggards, but they are lagging those previous securities, and these highs are in the rear view mirror. So not the same momentum to the upside. For example, the other security we're talking about for the past 3 weeks has lived above the 62 RSI, the home one, I believe it was. My memory's short on a Friday. But look at this one. For example, Bitcoin through IBIT has not been above a 62 RSI since March and the week of the 52-week highs. So it just looks a little bit tired, but I do think you do get another 6% rally over the next 2 to 3 weeks in Bitcoin, finally. Okay, we'll see how it trades this weekend as usual. All right, and then also, I don't know if you noticed it when I pushed the losers today, nothing got sold off in a multiple sigma way. So low volume day, they gobbled up industrials, financials, and Bitcoin, bottom line. All right, top 3 gainers the past 5 days, no repeats in charts. The KRE, regional banks. So big day up 3.5%. It's up about 4% in the past week. Let's look at the chart. So again, I bought the KBE yesterday, so that's a lot of different banks. These are strictly the regionals. So this one I probably have a little bit more to say, or a little bit more for takeaway for y'all. So this I like. I'd much rather be a buyer than seller of this. And my target for this one, there is actually still some juice. I like this versus very small upside of the other areas. So for this, closer to 59 to 59.5. Your 52-week high is 59.59. So I think it gets very close to that. 200-day moving average is stalled, but that's a very short time frame. I was up 8 days. That's a nice looking bar, massive. It's kind of also done nothing since it's put its highs in July. So I like this. My near-term target for the next 2 weeks or so is 59.5. So again, within the financial complex, it depends where you are. In the big banks, probably not a ton more. But regional banks, I do think have more meat on the bone here going forward based on this chart. All right, semiconductors, nice little mix. So regionals, we're talking about because it's the best gainer of the past week from, obviously past 5 days. And second is something that's not regional banks at all, is the semiconductors. So exactly what I'm talking about in terms of the lag and in terms of how great this one's looking. So this peaked on July 11th. We still great looking chart, rising 200-day moving average, all that. I'd rather be a buyer. I literally am a buyer. I'm an owner of the largest constituent, which is NVIDIA. In terms of this, it's done some good things. The target for me, though, is right around 259, 260. So I think it takes you here. And you got to understand, so this would take us back to mid-July or 3-month highs, essentially. I think that's all about it can muster up. We'll see how the animal spirits and everything will climb when NASDAQ gets higher and pulls its constituents higher. Meta's been doing a lot of the work. But names on Microsoft don't look great. This doesn't look particularly great. All that being said, next 2 weeks or so, this is going probably another $3 up. And I believe any pullback takes it down $12. So don't love the risk reward in SMH right now for the next 2 weeks. Obviously, over long term, be a buyer, pick your spots. I would play in this probably on that pullback if and should it get to 245 in a couple of weeks after the ascent. All right. So, but very important place in the market. If you got a ticker, put it in there. If you know how to type 3 letters at a time. All right. ASHR, top 3 losers of the past 5 days. China, track through this. FXI has similar returns. KWeb, similar returns, but this was the story of the week. So, pretty difficult. So, sometimes this is a daily chart. So, just a little, TA 101. So, look at these bars. Running, right? Just running. This is like you feel great. You got on the treadmill. You're going to get your new PR. You're going, no problem. Go. Ribs aren't popping. You're not even thinking about barbecue food. You're just running. Okay. And then the first sign here was on the 8th, which was your first sign. And when it had that big range, it went from 31 to 30 and it closed pretty much smack dab in the middle. After you saw such exuberance like that, you started to, look at the TV and the gym or, who knows what else. And you're getting distracted here. And then boom, it starts to fall off. So what's happened? We were talking about the mean reversion in ASHR. So now what? Let's add some math to it. Still rather be, it was down 1% today. Just stuff like this after it ran so massively. I think it's up still about 30% or so in a month. I would still give this just time to come in. It's going to live somewhere between 27 and 29. I know that doesn't sound amazingly informative. 2760 is your 21-day EMA. I would almost pick there for a spot, wait to see what more information potentially comes out of there. It goes which way the wind blows. But I would wait to right around 2760 or so, which is about, another 3.5%. So see how it trades next week. The 200-day, obviously, due to these massive inputs, is starting to go higher. It's holding a 50 RSI. Volume on the bullish side is getting a little bit lower. Trading overall is getting a little bit lower. But again, after this type of ascent, after seeing what this type of athlete, for example, has done on the treadmill, you guys see what kind of give back it has on the stochastic momentum mix. It's never been, this strong. Maybe back in this March rally, but here it got to the 200-day moving average, got to Chembade, rest in peace, and then it went immediately lower. This is totally a different sentiment as of September 24th, when the sentiment was when the stimulus was announced. We've still held pretty much everything, in terms of moving averages. So gives one time, I think you still get another, whatever I said, pullback down to about 2760. So like 3 to 4%. All right, let's keep going. Okay, second big mover, nat gas, just a lesson to all of us, including myself. Beautiful tag of the 200 moving average, just proven, like death, taxes, and UNG getting rejected by the 200 moving average. That's what happens, and then really got hardly whacked, and that's what we said was going to happen. My position expires in 1 week, so it was up nicely today, but obviously as the options decay, more of a move doesn't matter as it gets smaller notional. So this, I believe, will still continue to descend. It was down 2% today. I think it'll continue to flush a little bit more towards about 1390, as low as 1390. So we'll see if you get some volatility expansion. That will happen. For right now, first target about 1415, and I think it does go a little bit lower towards 1390. Still not going to take out those 52-week lows, though, I don't believe, from 1260 or so back in August. All righty then. Haven't seen that movie in a while. Ace Ventura. All righty then. All right, Brazil. One of the users yesterday, you guys asked about Brazil. So we'll just take a look at it live instead of regurgitating what I wrote to the young person. I assume they're young. So today was down 0.2%. This has had not participating in the global rally at all. Okay, so just 9 days ago, this was trading 30.20, and now we're at 28.30. So quite a nasty descent here. A big test. This has not been able to hold the 200 moving average since April, and really this country has just gone downward ever since then. No reason to own it. Hitting lows in August. Now what? I think it's had enough of a flush. I think the support will hold around 28.15. So right around here, essentially the bottom of the wick of today. The worst of today's trading coincides with the lowest trading of August, or of early to mid-August, after the recovery, after the Nikkei Japan crash. And I do think this bounces to about 29.30. So you get about a whole dollar over the next 2 to 3 weeks. And that's not a bad move if you want looking for something counter trend. So you could have a, that's a 3 to 4% jump in this. Like I said, be careful. It's counter trend. This thing could move up big at some point. And then after that, I would dump it again and probably revisit 28. All right. So why are we talking about it? Again, Brazil, one of the top 3 losers the past 5 days. It goes China, nat gas, and Brazil. Not a list you want to be with, minus China, although that's a show me story. All right. So top 3 absolute trades of the past 5 days. If you were short China, short nat gas, long regional banks, congrats. You absolutely nailed the market. Go to sleep and just wake up Monday and do whatever you did again. And then top 3 absolute trades of the past 52 weeks. I was going to say this as a teaser. No surprise, though. Long Bitcoin, still the number 1 trade, strictly through GBTC over the past year. I will pull this up because it's different from the IBIT we were looking at earlier in Ways. Still same peak in March, coincided with Bitcoin's, obviously. So let's look at this chart. So this is giving me agita and concerns, but obviously has that respect. You got to respect, never short a superstar, and it's been number 1, and we've been talking about it for a long time. But the test for the started August 5th, and typically you get about a month and change. I do about 4 to 6 weeks, and so for this, it was about September 5th to about September 20th, and it had to recover the 200 moving average. But the asterisk on that is the 200-day has to, due to the extreme inputs prior, has to start at least going flat or lower, right? So here, that's the saving grace, because the inputs were so extreme. As long as the 200 moving average is continuing to incline, you kind of can't short it. It still has the wind to its back, as it were. So that's why I'm still not going to outright short it, but it has looked particularly weak. GBTC, the best trade in ETF land of the entire year, going back to October 2023, since August 5th. It has never really recovered since that Japan Nikkei crash. It really has not. It's had some peaks above and closes, but again, I want to see GBTC close above 51.69. I think it probably likely will. It'll have probably some of this action. It'll go above here, and then probably this, you'll start to see this flatten the 200-day moving average, and it'll go above and below, and seesaw. So that's what's going on with that. Not going to pull up the second best trade of the past year because we looked at it earlier. It is SMH. So long and strong SMH, just to actually, you know what? Screw it. Just to juxtapose. That's a big word for a Friday. So just to juxtapose against what the best performer of them all, Bitcoin, looks like, right? So this peaked in July, not quite March, since those are different months. So peaked below here August 5th, and then quickly rebounded like a rubber band, and now it's continuing onward. Like I said, the next rally probably takes it here, so it's still going to be essentially range bound in 3-month action. So not what we want to see. I still think with the rising 200-day moving average, which it has similar to Bitcoin, it's building that base. It's going to chop along around here, and then I do think it continues. Again, just fundamental backdrop. Fed's cutting rates into 26 as per the dot plot. It helps semiconductors. NVIDIA is in early innings. I saw Optimus from a Tesla party making drinks last night and like playing hacky sack with people in Palo Alto. So early use cases for AI, and there's still NVIDIA still sold out to do stuff like that, and people are insane. So diffuse a little kindness this weekend as well, as always. Diffuse a little kindness. And number 3, the best chart in the entire market. We talked about similarities. Is the ITB up 60 bips today? This is what you want to see. Momentum, new highs in the past month. To be exact, it was done September 19th. This looks good. I think the next target is 131. I think this is going to surpass and get to new all-time highs in the next 2 weeks or so. And that could be what overtakes home builders versus semis, given that percentage gain potentially if semis stay stagnant, as I'm predicting, or even dip a little bit, and this cranks and goes towards another $8. Quite a nice move. It could finally be tipping of the scales where you really, really want to be long home builders and Bitcoin for now, depending on how the bar is and all the ETFs and everything. All right, I will. That is all, and I will see y'all later. You guys have a fun weekend. Make some money.